Ah, there's nothing like sitting back and remembering the things that fucked you up as a kid. As some of you may have noticed, some of YouTube's not so elite have been posting 5 things that scare them as children. Thing is, while I don't want to make myself sound super macho or anything, looking back, it seems like I was made of gristlier things than most children. I really could take anything that normally scared little children. Clowns? No problem. Mall Santas? I love 'em. My nightlight was there for seeing things in the dark purposes, not for scary monsters in the closet purposes. I even sought out horror movies at an earlier age than most, usually sneaking into the living room at 1 in the morning and popping in one of my parents' VHSs. Guess when I first saw Alien? 5 years old. Poltergeist and The Exorcist? 7 years old. The Omen, John Carpenter's The Thing, and Night of the Living Dead? 8 years old. So I developed a hardy constitution early on. It might also explain the blackouts that result in me waking up in an alley with blood on my hands, but that's getting off topic. So yeah, I wasn't prone to any day terrors. But I did have some rather strong nightmares as a child, almost all of them inspired by something I had seen not long ago. So instead of my top 5 childhood fears, I instead offer you my top 5 childhood nightmare inspirations. Things that I never found scary while awake, but somehow inspired my subconscious to fuck with my dreams. Number 5. The rock-afire explosion. I'm probably from the last generation to appreciate the other Chuck E. Cheese, the Showbiz pizza place. Like the Chuck, Showbiz offered arcade games, the world's shittiest pizza, and the animatronic band. Showbiz always seemed to put a teeny bit more effort into their place, but in terms of the house band, the rock-afire explosion, they went miles beyond the competitor. While the Chuck E. Cheese players were made of cheap fur and foam, the rock-afire explosion used latex faces for more realistic facial expressions. Plus, they were better programmed at miming the music. This resulted in Skynet-produced creatures that every 4-year-old actually believed were real. The band played the cast to one of my earliest nightmares, namely Mitzi Mozzarella and Duke LaRue. The dream consisted of Duke chasing around Mitzi with a pair of safety scissors, threatening to cut off her ears. This may have been the result of guilt, as I had recently cut my sister's hair with a pair of safety scissors, much to my parents' dismay. In any case, a rather brutal dream for someone that young. Number 4. The Hungry Bed from Monsters. Out of all the horror movies and television that I subjected myself to at a young age, it's interesting that Monsters affected my dreams the most. Similar to Tales from the Dark Side, Monsters was a horror anthology in the early days of the Sci-Fi Channel, though a bit more tongue-in-cheek than most. The episode in question was called Pillow Talk, and I'll be damned if I can remember anything about it other than that one scene where a rather cheesy monster bed consumed a woman. Remember, I had watched Alien not long before this, so even my 5-year-old self wasn't impressed by these shoddy effects. And yet, it resulted in me having not one, but 2 nightmares about furniture coming to life and eating people I knew. My grandma still has the sofa that ate her, so I always look at it a little wary. Number 3. The Crash Test Dummies. Spokesman for safe driving, each Crash Test Dummies commercial had the 2 characters getting maimed and beat up every single time, which made them perfect candidates for children's toys. Yes, kids of all ages will love Crash Test Dummies. Laugh as they get torn limb from limb. High five as they break each bone in their body. You know, for kids. As you can imagine, such brutality inspired a rather wonderful nightmare where I was the crash test dummy, hurtling toward a brick wall in a 1988 Ford Taurus without a seatbelt. And I didn't wake up before I hit the wall, because even in my nightmares, I'm not a pussy. Number 2. The ending theme to MassNet. MassNet was a segment on PBS's Square One TV. The series was a Dragnet parody, following the adventures of detectives George Franklin and Kate Monday, later replaced by Pat Tuesday. They would solve crimes using far more complicated math than the rest of the show, so either they intended the segment to reach an older demographic, or the 2 halves of the show never spoke to each other. This show is okay, nothing all that special. However, for some reason, the theme that closed this segment was the soundtrack to a number of my nightmares. Do 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 do, do 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 do. I don't even remember what the nightmares themselves were, just that the MathNet theme was involved. It still puzzles me. Number 1. Sweetums. Well, I guess if I was going to be haunted by any Muppet, it'd be Sweetums, the only Muppet to be a serious physical threat to any of the guests on the Muppet Show. Sweetums...
I am your nightmare.
Huh?
I am your nightmare,
Batman voice,
bitch.
I thought we agreed...
And now,
What?
I will get your channel flagged.
No, don't do that.
Say goodbye to
no,
all your
guys,
subscribers, Greg.
No, I'm gonna get
Victoria's
flagged. Stop
Secret.
it.
Suicide Girls. Nude Emma Watson.
Stop.
And now for piles of child pornography.
What was that?
What?
Not so fast.
Who are you?
I'm Jimmy Stewart voice, and I'm gonna lay the smackdown on your candy ass if you don't get out of here.
Your luckies have come true for you again, Greg. But next time, you won't be so lucky.
Wow, thanks, Jimmy Stewart voice. All in a day's work. This is clearly Victor's doing. He and Batman voice must have joined forces. If only there was a way I had to get back at him.
Well, perhaps I can be of assistance.